There are a lot of different types of roguelites, and admittedly, I really enjoy them. So when I saw this one, I was interested immediately from the art style and the concept, because this is one that is part on-rail shooter, part tower defense. And I like both of those style of games, but I've never played one that's mixed in with a roguelite. And if there is a game similar to this that you've played before, please let me know in the comments below so I can take a look, because I thought this was interesting and different than anything that I personally have played. Now, Turret Girls is a gameplay first style of game. And why I'm saying that is because there's actually like no story presented in the game whatsoever. There's no opening scene, there's no ending scene, there's nothing. It's all gameplay, to the point where there's not even a tutorial. You just get thrown right into it, and there's only 3 levels in the game. So what you see for the first 2 minutes of this video in terms of gameplay is what you're going to see for the entirety of the game. So I'll try and be quick and to the point. So basically, when you start out, the first part of the gameplay is the on-rails aspect. So our little turret girl here, yes, turret girl, because there's only one in the game, can move a set distance either left or right. All you're really going to do is shoot. You do have a melee, so some flying enemies will target you, and you can use your sword to quickly dispatch them and get them off you. And then additionally, you have like a side dash. So you can go either left or right to dodge projectiles or melee enemies trying to target you. That's all there is to it in terms of the on-rails portion. You're just going to mow down hordes and hordes of enemies as you try to protect your generators, which is the tower defense part of the game. Now, each of the 3 levels will start you with 2 generators. They don't attack or anything like that. They just build up charge, because your main objective in this is to charge up a super weapon. And there's all different types of generators. They charge different values per wave, and I'm not going to go into each and every one of these, but then some of them also attack. Those ones that have an attack, like a flamethrower or anti-air or missile launcher or whatever the case may be, they typically charge up your super weapon a bit slower, but they do give you some additional defenses. Now, one of the ways you can get a game over in this is if all 5 of your generators get destroyed, you'll get a game over. And then the other is if your girl meets her demise. And you don't see a health bar on the screen because your health is determined by how clothed you are. Yes, there's a lot of fan service in the game. You can tell from the camera angles and some of the dialogue that shows up on the screen. And your clothes will tear away until eventually you're butt naked. Now, it doesn't show that. There is no nudity here. It's all implied nudity and, again, fan service. But that's basically how it works, how you get a game over, and how the game flows. Now, as you play through, there are some things to unlock. There's cosmetics, which again play into the fan service element of the game. You can change your girl's bra and panties and headgear and all those sorts of things, or stockings, stuff like that. This is the bulk of what's going to be your incentive to keep playing, is these cosmetics and that fan service aspect of the game. And then additionally, you will earn XP for whatever your starting turret is. So I started out with the machine gun because that's all I had. There are ways to unlock shotgun, lasers, missiles, all different types of turrets. And then whichever one you use, that's going to be the one that earns XP. There are 10 levels of mastery for each weapon. And at each level of mastery, you're going to get some sort of a buff. It might buff your generators, it might buff your turret. It depends on which weapon you're using. I apologize if I burn your corneas because I really like the double laser, and that was what got me through all 3 levels and basically beat the game. Although when you do beat all 3 levels, each time you beat a level, you do unlock an endless mode. So if you're a masochist and you want to sit there for like 3 hours and try to get far in endless mode to get all the cosmetics, I mean, have at it. Visually, you know, Turret Girls is really nice. I didn't run into any frame rate issues or anything like that. I also didn't run into any bugs just in general. And I do like the art style. It's obviously an anime style, more of like a cell shaded art style. And then additionally, like the music's pretty good, but it has pretty much one track per stage. So, you know, you might want to put on some of your own music because it will get old pretty quickly. And then there is voice acting, but it's all in Japanese, I believe. So I turned it off. You're not going to hear any of that. And that's pretty much it in terms of the presentation. So when I first started out with the game, I wasn't overly impressed. But I think that's because Stage 1 is a bit lackluster, and also because they don't really teach you how to play. And my biggest complaint is with the upgrade screen, because you can't compare the generators. So until you learn what the generator's stats are for each one, if you want to replace one, there's no way to compare them and see if it's actually better than the one you currently have slotted there. So I think they could make it so you can cursor over your generators at the bottom or your weapons and upgrades on the side so you can see what you actually have going on. They just don't give you a lot of information here. They give you 3 choices. You can re-roll, and it increases in cost each time you re-roll for the entirety of the run, and that's pretty much it. It's a very basic upgrade process, but I think they can do some quality of life stuff there to make it easier to compare what you might get with what you already have. All 3 stages, as expected, fundamentally play exactly the same. I mean, they look different, they're different environment types, and they do have some different enemy types, but all you're going to be doing is blasting away enemies, trying to survive wave to wave, earning money, and then upgrading until eventually you fully charge the super weapon, and then the preceding wave after you reach 100% with your super weapon will bring in a boss which you defeat, or the super weapon defeats him for you, and then that's it. That's the end of your run. Unless you're playing endless mode, then it'll just keep looping. But that's pretty much it. I mean, overall, like, I would be lying to say that I didn't have some fun with this, but this is definitely a game that's for those of you that enjoy repetition, because they really want you to play it over and over, and having only 3 levels and not a lot of variety there is a bit lackluster, I guess. Hopefully they're going to add more content. They have plenty of different cosmetics, and if you're into that and you enjoy unlocking those, it'll keep you busy for a while. But if you don't like repetition and you really don't like the idea that there's only 3 levels and the game fundamentally plays the same no matter which level you're on, I mean, I don't really think this is going to be a game for you. One thing though that I didn't mention yet that I do want to call out, which is a nice touch, is if you've been paying attention to the enemies, you can see that they are red, yellow, and blue. And this is important because the red enemies are melee enemies that will attack the generators. The blue are ranged enemies that will attack the generators. And then all of the yellow enemies will actually target the player. So I do want to tip my hat at it in the strategy involved with this element, and that they color-coded it to make it easier for you to prioritize targets, because this does introduce some strategy that I don't think I fully covered just yet. You know, there is some strategy that goes into it and having to prioritize targets so that you don't die and your generators don't die. But anyways, this was Turret Girls. I can't really definitively recommend or not recommend it because it really depends on player tastes. Some players might enjoy it like myself, and others might find it boring after an hour. If you like repetition and unlocks and trying to get further and further with the endless runs, have at it. It's pretty fun. It's definitely different than anything that I've played, and it looks nice and it sounds nice. So I think I pretty much covered everything there is to cover right now. I do think they can improve it in a few ways. I do think they can add some additional content. But either way, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for notifications if you haven't done so already. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.